Hi, my name is Gerard and this is my little video series in which I speak about my travels through America. In today's video I'll be speaking about my fourth time going to LA, basically just to see Will and Grace, but I did the other stuff too, so be sure to stick around and see what happens. So this trip in particular takes place in September 2019 and it's my shortest visit to America. It's only for a period of 4 days. The whole reason I decided to go is because I get tickets to go and see a taping of Will and Grace. If you can't tell by my t-shirt how big a fan I am, then let me just break down for you. So I never really started watching Will and Grace when it was originally on TV between the years of 1998 and 2006. So 10 years after the show got cancelled, in 2016 they brought it back for a special one-off episode about the election to try and drum up support for Hillary Clinton because of the whole gay rights movement. Basically, Will and Grace is just a gay sitcom. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's really funny and it's so good. And after they did this election episode, fans were just crazy about it, and the network that originally cancelled it decided to bring it back for a full season, and that went really well, so they brought it back for 2 more. And basically when they revived the show is when I first started properly watching it. I mean, yeah, I had seen clips of it back in the day, but I never actually sat down and watched a full episode of it. But when it started coming back, I decided to give it more time and I truly fell in love with it, and since then I've been a long-term fan, and yeah, I've been watching it non-stop. So after they announced that this was the last season, I'm like, no, why? Not this again, because I've been to America a few months before, to LA of course, to go and see a taping of another sitcom called Big Bang Theory. And the reason I got tickets for that was because it was the last season as well. So I'm like, this is my last opportunity. If I don't get to see it now, then I never will. So luckily enough, I did get tickets to go and see a recording of the Big Bang Theory. Yeah, had a blast. And yeah, I talked about that in the previous video. So if you're interested in hearing more, go and check it out. So yeah, once Will and Grace announced that this is their last season, I'm like, you know what, I have to get over there again and go and see another recording again. But you know, I don't really mind in a way because I want to go back to America, and this is like the perfect opportunity to do that. So then I applied for a few episodes to try and get tickets, and luckily I do win tickets for a recording on September the 11th. And then I'm like, okay, I've got the tickets, now I need to get over to America. So I booked all my accommodation and flights and stuff, and yeah, this all happens a few weeks before the actual recording, so this all moves very fast, but you know, I don't mind. I'm kind of desperate to get back over because I had so much fun last time, so yeah, why not? So yeah, soon enough the date arrives and I'm on my way to LA for the second time this year. And by the time I actually get to America, I'm basically, you know, half asleep because it's like about 10 o'clock at night, and it's dark and there's nothing much for me to do other than to go to the hotel and get checked in and then go to bed because I want to be up and early to go to Will and Grace tomorrow. So yeah, I get to the hotel room, basically just do a little bit of unpacking, make a cup of tea. I brought my kettle because, you know, I can't go anywhere without a decent cup of tea, and like the little coffee makers they give you in these hotels in America, they're shit. Like they really don't work. Like they take ages to boil water. You know, with a kettle, like you get boiling water in seconds. So wake up the next morning, get ready to go have a shower, and then I go in the shower and I see there's this disgusting insect, which is kind of like ginormous to me because I've never seen an insect this size. I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's a scorpion because of like the little pincers, and it makes a lot of noise when it runs, and I'm like, ugh, this is just gross. Like the size of it, I just couldn't get over the size of it. And then it's in the shower and I'm like, this hotel room looks spotless to me, and I don't really know how there's a scorpion in here, but you know, there it is. And I'm like, how can I get a shower if it's right there? So I don't know, I kind of like try and shoo it away, and then it goes down towards like on this like drain thing in the shower, and I'm like, I don't think it went down any drain. I think it's still underneath this like tile thing, but you know, I don't see it coming out anytime soon, so I'm gonna have to brave it like I'm a Celebrity and just go in there and get a shower and then get out. Probably the quickest shower I've ever had in my life. I get ready and then I go downstairs to get my breakfast in the hotel and then head on my way. So I arrive at Universal Studios and I get out of the Uber and I'm kind of looking around like, where exactly do I go? Because Universal Studios is pretty friggin' big and there's like all these different parts to it, but I try and follow the map provided by the ticket people for Will and Grace, and I kind of walk around and go over to these traffic lights thinking I need to cross this road. So then I see these two women in front of me and I can hear them talking and I don't really pay attention to them, but then they kind of turn around while they're waiting for the traffic lights to turn green and they look at me and they notice the t-shirt and they're like, oh, we're fans of the show too. And I'm like, oh really? I'm actually on my way to go and see a taping of Will and Grace. And they're like, oh no way, so are we. But after I got talking to them, we kind of stayed together and we walked up towards this entrance, which we assumed was the entrance to like the filming studio. So yeah, we just kind of stand along waiting there for a few hours and then this girl comes behind us and I can't remember exactly where she was from. I think it was like Romania or somewhere, but yeah, she was a big fan of Will and Grace and I remember she was telling us that she was living in San Francisco with her sister and she had got the bus down from San Francisco to LA and she was on this bus for 8 hours and it was travelling overnight and she just arrived and she looked amazing for someone who had like spent 8 hours on a bus. We weren't too sure if she was going to get in because she didn't actually have her ID with her. She had her sister's ID and you basically needed your ID to actually be allowed into the actual studios. But then I'm like, you know what, as long as I get in, that's all that kind of matters because I've travelled a lot further than her, okay, just saying. So we all get checked in and then we have to go for security and then we get taken onto this bus and we have to sit in this bus and wait for the bus to fill up with all the audience members and then get taken over to the actual filming area. And while we're sitting on the bus, me and the two girls from the traffic lights were looking around to try and see if we could find the girl from San Francisco. And luckily we do see that she does get past security, so she does make it into the actual filming, which we're really happy about because I would hate for her to travel all that way and not get in, so yay. Before we go into the studio, we have to give our phones over for all these legal reasons and blah 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 to make sure no one's recording any of the set and stuff, and then we actually get into the set and then the guy locating everyone's like, how many is in your party? And I'm like, yeah, there's just one of me, mate. And he's like, oh, okay, well, you can go to the front row. And I'm like, yeah. He might have just been feeling sorry for me, but I didn't care. You know, front row is front row, especially for Will and Grace, because, you know, Will is pretty hot. So once everyone gets settled into their seats, then there's a hype man that comes out to try and like get everyone all excited for the show. You know, I kind of knew what to expect with this because The Big Bang Theory, the Late Late Show with James Corden, both had like hype men come out and try and get the audience all riled up and excited to make as much noise as possible for the actual recordings. But then one thing this like stand-up comedian guy said really threw me off. So he kind of makes a joke like, oh, I'll be filling in for Mullally tonight because she's not here, lol. That's actually what he said. And if you're not too familiar with the show, Mullally plays the character Karen. So if you might notice on my t-shirt it says Will, Grace, Karen and Jack. They're the four main characters of the show, so like they're in every episode. When this guy said, oh, the person who plays Karen isn't here, but I'll be filling in for her place, and I'm like, okay, good one. And then in the back of my head I'm like, wait, is he actually serious? Could she not actually be here? I'm like, no way, because she's like my favourite character. I'm like, she has to be here, like there hasn't been an episode without her. And then I remembered to myself, oh wait, there was like some news about a feud going on between Debra, who plays Grace, and Mullally, who plays Karen. Apparently they unfollowed each other on Instagram, and I'm like, well, that could be over anything, but you know, even if there was like a feud going on between them, can't imagine it would get so bad that Megan would actually show up to the show. And then I'm like, you're thinking way too much into this girl, just let it go. So then I kind of like just try to ignore it and put it to the back of my head, and the guy continues making his jokes, and eventually they start playing music, and they play We Found Love, which I remember was like the song I played before the cast came out. So I'm like, oh, this is the moment they're actually gonna like show the cast and start filming. So then everyone gets up out of their seats and starts standing up, clapping away, cheering, and then the curtain drops down to unveil the cast, and then you see Will, Eric McCormick, Grace, Debra Messing, Jack, Sean Hayes, and there's no Megan Mullally. There's a cardboard cutout of her sitting down. But yeah, there's no Karen. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? Because I'm like, is this for real? I've travelled all the way from Ireland to America to see like my favourite sitcom and my favourite character from the sitcom, who's in every single episode, is not in the one I've come all the way over to see. I'm like, this can't be for real. Like, is she just running late or something? And then I'm like, no, she's not. She's just not there. Like the guy said at the start, when he was joking about taking her place, this kind of confirmed that no, she's not going to be in this episode. And I couldn't believe it. Then I'm like to myself, what am I supposed to feel like? Because I'm so excited to be here and see the rest of the cast, but I still feel gutted because Megan, aka Karen, is not here. I'm like, I honestly, I don't know what to make of it at this point, because I don't want to like look ungrateful not to be there, but I'm still pissed off in my head. So yeah, I smile and cheer along like the rest of the audience. And then I start filming. You know, it is amazing to see because I do love this show. Grace, played by Debra Messing, she does a scene where she kind of like runs around doing like an obstacle kind of course. She did that about 4 or 5 times. She didn't break character once. Like, she stuck to her lines, and you know, she did really well. They all did really well at the performance. Like, it was class to see. Eric McCormick, who plays Will, who's hot, he would come up to the audience like singing Queen and stuff. He looked at me a few times. I tried to be as smiley as I could because like I do love him. I love all of them. I really had an amazing time going to watch the taping, and they give us pizza and stuff like that. Yeah, it was really fun, but at the same time I was still you know, broken hearted that Megan wasn't there. I just felt like part of the show was missing. In the back of my mind, I'm like, why didn't I just get tickets for a different day? Like, still, what can you do? So then I get back to the hotel about 10 o'clock that night, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, what else can I do? So I basically just make a cup of tea and sit on my phone, and then I'm lying on the bed, and then I hear scraping, and then I'm like, oh, what the hell's that? And then I get up out of bed, and I could see walking along the ground, there's the bloody scorpion. And I'm assuming it's the same one from before, because I can't imagine how there'd be 2 up in this hotel room. It moves really fast and like just scrapes along the ground, and you're like, ugh. And then I remember trying to hit it with my shoe, and I think I did hit it hard enough that it stopped. But even when I hit it with the shoe, I could really hear it as I was doing it. Unlike if it's like a little tiny bug, you don't really hear anything. But this one, you definitely hear like a crunch. Ugh. I just really hated doing this because it is a living thing, but you know, it's a disgusting living thing, so it needs to go. So then the next day, I don't really have anything planned, so after I get my breakfast, I just kind of get ready to go out and head over to Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills and try and pretend I can afford to shop in all these places. And then I head over to this like little coffee shop for like a smoothie because it's really warm as usual in LA, and I decided to sit outside under the shade and like just drink the smoothie. But while I'm sitting there, I kind of go on this app for certain people like myself, friends of Dorothy's, you know, gays. I start using this app, and then I get speaking to a couple who are located nearby, and I kind of explain to them I'm a tourist from Ireland, I'm here in America for a few days, and then I mentioned to them I really want to go and check out the nightlife in West Hollywood just to see what it's really like, because you know, I've heard about it and I've never actually gone to experience it. So I go over to meet them at their apartment, and they're both really nice, and one of them was telling me that he's a model for Abercrombie and Fitch, and I was like, whoa, because he started showing me his Instagram and like all these like influencers and stuff he's met, like Taylor Holder, you know, Bryce Hall, Dylan Gack, I don't know how you say his second name, Jackson Krydick. Then he tells me that some of these people might actually be in some of the bars here in West Hollywood. I'm like, really? And I was like so excited. I couldn't wait to get going. So yeah, then we head out to downtown LA, and we go to this Thai food place, and I buy them dinner because, you know, it's the least I could do if they're taking me around all these like bars and stuff. So yeah, the first place we go to is the Abbey, which is sometimes referred to as the chapel, and beside the Abbey is another bar called Pump, which is owned by Lisa Vanderpump of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and also from Vanderpump Rules, her own little show, in case you didn't know. But how could you not know? So after that we go to more bars around that area, and like they're all fairly busy because this is like Thursday night, so yeah, I was kind of surprised, but yeah, they're busy enough but not too busy. And like even the ones that we do go into, one of the guys of the couple, David, he seems to know like someone everywhere. He's the one who's the model, and yeah, he knows his way around, let's just say that. And then we go to another bar in like the downtown area, which is called Tiger Heat. And here's kind of fancy, there's like dancers on platforms, and then there's like screens, and they're of like music videos, and they're playing H, which I couldn't believe because this is like a gay club, and like H, the British rapper. Not that I was complaining, but it just seemed, you know, out of place to me. Each to their own and all that. But then the next day, in the morning, I'm like, what else can I do? I'm just sitting at breakfast, eating my Fruit Loops, and then I go back on this app for people like me. And then I get speaking to this guy called Myrick, and he kind of asked me if I have any plans that day, and I explained to him I kind of want to go to a beach, but I'm not really sure which beach to go to. I know there's so many to like choose from, but I've already been to the famous ones, Santa Monica, on Venice Beach, and I'm not really sure which other ones to go to. And then we both decide on going to Will Rogers Beach, and he kindly offers to take me. So we get to this beach, and yeah, it's beautiful, it's really nice, and like just hang out together pretty much, walking around. There's not much else to do at this beach. There's not like all these different stalls and stuff like Venice Beach, or like amusements like Santa Monica, but, you know, it's still pretty nice. And then the next thing we do is we go to Red Lobster, because I've never been to Red Lobster before, and you know, I've always wanted to go to Red Lobster because Nicki Minaj used to work there, and I'm a big Nicki Minaj fan, like pure barb, and I've really heard amazing things about these cheesy biscuits they give you for free. So the next day I don't really have too much time to get out exploring, and I'm kind of like lost for things to do before I have to go home. And I'm like, actually I'll go to Santa Monica Beach, because thinking about it, I've never actually been to Santa Monica Beach during the day. I've only ever been at night time, so this seemed like the perfect opportunity to get out and explore. So yeah, I head up to Santa Monica Beach and walk around the pier and the boardwalk. And yeah, it was just nice to have a little chill time at the beach, because most of the time when I'm in America, I'm just like go, go, go. But right now, I'm just like making the most of it, just enjoying the sun and my last few hours here. So yeah, I just explore around the pier a bit more and the boardwalk, and then I head back up to the hotel to get my luggage, and then set off to go to the airport. And yeah, that's basically the end of my trip. So yeah, I really had a blast and can't wait to go back again. That was my last time in LA before all this pandemic stuff, so hopefully I get to go back soon. Fingers crossed. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.